Hello friend, welcome to day 34 of 7:30. Today we're reading Genesis chapter 40 and 41, but 41 only the first 18 verses. From the New Living Translation it reads, Sometime later, Pharaoh's chief cupbearer and chief baker offended their royal master. 2. Pharaoh became angry with these two officials. 3. And he put them in prison where Joseph was, in the palace of the captain of the guard. 4. They remained in prison for quite some time, and the captain of the guard assigned them to Joseph, who looked after them. 5. While they were in prison, Pharaoh's cupbearer and baker each had a dream one night, and each dream had its own meaning. 6. When Joseph saw them the next morning, he noticed that they both looked upset. 7. Why do you look so worried today? He asked them. 8. And they replied, We both had dreams last night, but no one can tell us why or what they mean. Interpreting dreams is God's business, Joseph replied. Go ahead and tell me your dreams. 9. So the chief cupbearer told Joseph his dream first. In my dream, he said, I saw a grapevine in front of me. 10. The vine had 3 branches that began to bud and blossom, and soon it produced clusters of ripe grapes. 11. I was holding Pharaoh's wine cup in my hand. I took a cluster of grapes and squeezed the juice into the cup. Then I placed the cup in Pharaoh's hand. 12. This is what the dream means, Joseph said. The 3 branches represent 3 days. 13. Within 3 days, Pharaoh will lift you up and restore you to your position as his chief cupbearer. 14. And please remember me and do me a favor when things go well for you. Mention me to Pharaoh so he might let me out of this place. 15. For I was kidnapped from my homeland, the land of the Hebrews, and now I am here in prison, but I did nothing to deserve it. 16. When the chief baker saw that Joseph had given the first dream such a positive interpretation, he said to Joseph, I had a dream too. In my dream, there were 3 baskets of white pastries stacked on my bread or on my head. 17. The top basket contained all kinds of pastries for Pharaoh, but the birds came and ate them from the basket on my head. 18. This is what the dream means, Joseph told him. The 3 baskets also represent 3 days. 19. 3 days from now, Pharaoh will lift you up and impale your body on a pole. Then birds will come and peck away at your flesh. 20. Pharaoh's birthday came 3 days later, and he prepared a banquet for all his officials and staff. He summoned the chief cupbearer and the chief baker to join the other officials. 21. He then restored the chief cupbearer to his former position, so he could again hand Pharaoh his cup. 22. But Pharaoh impaled the chief baker just as Joseph had predicted when he interpreted his dream. 23. Pharaoh's chief cupbearer, however, forgot all about Joseph, never giving him another thought. And then 41. 2 full years later, Pharaoh dreamed that he was standing on the bank of the Nile River. 2. In his dream, he saw 7 fat, healthy cows come out of the river and begin grazing in the marsh grass. 3. Then he saw 7 more cows come up behind them from the Nile, but these were scrawny and thin. The cows stood beside the fat cows on the riverbank, and the scrawny thin cows ate the 7 healthy fat cows. At this point of the dream, Pharaoh woke up. But he fell asleep again and had a second dream. This time he saw 7 heads of grain, plump and beautiful, growing on a single stack. 6. Then 7 more heads of grain appeared, but 7 more heads of grain appeared, but these were shriveled and withered by the east wind. 7. And these thin heads swallowed up the 7 plump, well-formed heads. Then Pharaoh woke up again and realized it was a dream. 8. The next morning, Pharaoh was very disturbed by the dream, so he called for all the magicians and wise men of Egypt. When Pharaoh told them his dream, no one of them could tell him what it meant. 9. Finally, the king chief cupbearer spoke up. Today I have been reminded of my failure, he told Pharaoh. 10. Some time ago, you were angry with the chief baker and me, and you imprisoned us in the palace of the captain of the guard. 11. One night, the chief baker and I each had a dream, and each dream had its own meaning. 12. There was a young Hebrew man with us in the prison who was a slave of the captain of the guard. We, we told him our dreams, and he told us what each of the dreams mean. 15. And everything happened just as he had predicted. I was restored to my position, and the cupbearer and the chief baker, as the cupbearer and the chief baker was executed and impaled on a pole. 14. Pharaoh sent for Joseph at once, and he was quickly brought from prison. After he shaved and changed his clothes, he went in and stood before Pharaoh. 15. Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, I had a dream last night, and no one here can tell me what it means. But I have heard that when you hear about a dream, you can interpret it. 16. It is beyond my power to do this, Joseph replied, but God can tell you what it means and set you at ease. 17. So Pharaoh told Joseph his dream. In my dream, he said, I was standing on the bank of the Nile River. 18. And I saw 7 fat, healthy cows come out of the river and began grazing in the marsh grass. And that was Genesis 41. Until tomorrow, stay blessed.